Hey, Stephanie. It's been 2 years since we last produced a podcast. What's been up?
What's been up? Let me see. Gas, the price of like all groceries, my weight, and I don't even look at the news anymore. It's all been crazy. Crazy's been up.
Hey, everyone out there in podcast land. My name is Rinnie. I'm the Associate Director of Web Squared, and with me today is my co-host for the Remedy podcast, Monday Mindset Edition.
And my name is Stephanie Perry. I'm the Executive Director of Web Squared, but we're actually like co-EDs. I mean, if we really want to break it down. But and we are both co-founders of Wealth Through Entrepreneurship for Black and Brown businesses.
And as we said in our introduction, it's been 2 years since we produced our very last podcast. It's been a wild ride for the last couple of years, but we are so excited to be with you here in podcast land today. We are rebranding our Remedy podcast.
Yeah, it's been 2 years, Rennie. I can't believe it. The time just flew by. But it's been a productive 2 years. We've learned a lot. And why are we rebranding? Well, we're going to talk about that. But I think my answer to why we're rebranding is because we've learned some things, we've changed some things, we've grew some things. And so that requires a new way of talking about what we do. And here's the first thing that we learned. This podcast is not going to be an hour long.
No, we hope that these will be short 15-minute podcasts that will hopefully will have our entrepreneurs excited about the mindset work that we do with them around being an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur and moving through these various fields of mindset work that we move through.
Yeah. And also, all of our supporters that listen to us, because I know our entrepreneurs are listening, but then we just had like friends in our community that just love to, well, I don't want to say love, but told us that they like listening to us talk about what we're doing. So, yeah, we're rebranding. You know what would be fun, Rennie?
What was that?
If whoever's listening, y'all have our information, maybe let us know what you'd like to hear as we talk about mindset. Because, mindset is a big deal these days.
So let's get into it a little bit. I think that in the course of 2 years, we've had to deal with some major mindset shifts of our own as we're doing this work. And learning and growing, as you said. For you, Stephanie, what would be a significant sort of mindset lesson you've learned this year?
The biggest mindset shift for me is realizing that we are not going to get all of our work done.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Meaning that this is what do they say? It's a marathon and not a race.
Do you want to explain what you mean by what our work is and what we're doing?
Yeah, so like we meet with entrepreneurs, find out what their goals are, and then help them achieve their goals. We also meet with entrepreneurs and find out how they're feeling about their work and what their stressors are, what their successes are, and help to either ensure that they can feel good about what they're doing while they're building their businesses, or if they're in a rut or stuck or suffering from like imposter syndrome or whatever, all the stresses, we give them tips and tools. Sometimes they're hacks to be able to navigate the challenges. So that's the work. And here's the thing. that work never ends. Like,
No.
that's a part of life, right?
Yeah, and I kind of want to, as you're talking about this, I'm just going to dive right into this concept I learned a few weeks ago at this Southern Jam training experience outside of Asheville for a week. And I know you took it like a year ago. You went on the Southern Jam, and we did talk about these different fields of transformation. And so I'm adapting this into different fields of mindset transformation. So there's the personal mindset that we have done, on our own over the past, 2 years. But there's also this interpersonal mindset that we've done together as being a team, and we've done with our entrepreneurs, and we've done with our community. Um, and the reason why we're doing this is because, on a deeper level, like our mission, we didn't take a very like lighthearted mission at all. Our mission is to change a systemic mindset around the racial wealth gap and access to resources, and so I'm just wondering, within this theory of transformation, what has been the biggest thing you've learned over the last couple of years?
I would say that um, any transformation always starts within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was 12 years old when I read Alice Walker. I forgot what book it was in, but it was one of the most favorite quotes, that it was such a favorite quote that I remembered it at 12 to this day. And it was, the sincerest struggle to change the world starts within.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know that that would be the quote that at 55 would be so illumined in my mind, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of me understanding, like, the biggest lever um, I can, what is that? What do you do with a lever? You pull it, push it, whatever you do with a lever, step on it,
Pull the lever, I think.
pull. Yeah. It's the biggest lever that I could pull to do my part
Mm-hmm.
in changing the world. And that's changing my own mindset, understanding, um, you know, the process of awareness that I have undergone to be able to change my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and we're organizationally, we're working as a team. We're developing partnerships. We work with so many different people.
Yeah. So how do you think that this personal mindset that you just talked about, like the change and the quoting of the Alice Walker, um, how do you think that this has impacted some of your interpersonal mindset transformations? Like, our relationship, for example, as co-directors, or anyone else you want to talk about. You could talk about me if you want. I'm okay with it. You can be completely honest and say whatever you want to say about me at this podcast. I promise I will not take it personally.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I used to think that the best way to, like, change my own mind was to, like, constantly remind myself of all the things that I screwed up and all the ways that I could do better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used to think, well, if I'm, so my self talk was, like, really hard. Like, I had an inner critic that was very harsh. And what
Mm-hmm.
I noticed was, that's would be my approach with other people, right? Like, no, you got to speak your truth. You got to face the truth. The truth hurts. And then I realized something. And I was looking at a friend's Facebook post, by the way, and I'm not going to say any names, who I admire. But I realized that little saying, you get more bees with honey. I remember And I don't know who told me this story, but it was a story about a contest between the wind and the sun. Have you ever heard that story, Rinnie?
No.
Oh, let me share the story.
Okay.
So the wind and the sun were constantly competing with one another. Just go with me. I know that doesn't sound accurate, but it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so the wind said, I'm more powerful than you are. And the sun said, I'm actually way more powerful than you. And she just started beaming. I made the sun feminine. I don't know why. The sun is feminine. So there was this man. So the wind and the sun were going back and forth arguing. And they noticed this man in a park. And he had a jacket on. And he was walking. And so the wind said, I'm more powerful than you. I bet you I can make that man take his jacket off faster than you. And the sun said, it's a bet. So the wind started blowing. Ooh, ooh, and he started blowing harder. Ooh, ooh. And the man just took his jacket and held it close and tighter, and the wind was trying to blow the man's jacket off, and the harder he blew, the tighter the man held his jacket. And the wind blew so hard he went out of breath. And he said, okay, your turn, son. And the sun, she just lit up and just started beaming. And the rays just poured out. And the man just got so hot he took his jacket off. So that's how you get stuff with sugar. Okay. So Rinnie, what do you think that story means?
I think that it's a story that's kind of talking about the power of persuasion and just being present with somebody or the wind was trying to force this guy to take off his jacket. And when we come at problems and challenges with just the force of nature, we take people off guard. People will try to protect themselves. Self-protection, self-preservation is really important. And our brains, when something comes at us like with this like very forceful energy, that we're gonna just kind of like close off, and it's going to be much harder to change. It's going to be so much harder to transform our circumstances. But when the sun comes and he's just gentle, and it's just like a little bit of warmth and it's just a little bit more, and it's just easier to kind of like get caught up in the spirit and like lift ourselves up a little bit, and that the change is going to happen a lot more joyfully and a lot more willingly than if we were just little scared to death of the wind and the power of that change. Just
Totally. And that's the biggest transformation that I've experienced in those 2 years. Like how, like first that inner talk with myself, right? And then practicing that over and over again, and then being able to share that, the way that we talk about our work with other people, the way that we talk with the entrepreneurs, the way that we talk with partners, to understand that, people are kind of where they are, but with lots of relationship building, lots of sharing, perspective taking, we've gotten a lot more change than, this kind of really aggressive kind of I don't say aggressive, but yeah, that's been more successful. It feels better. There is a term for it. There's so many smart people out here that do things called appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry. And it was actually, it is a methodology of practicing change by remembering times in the past where you've been successful in whatever area you're trying to change, and then applying some of those uh, um, principles, mindsets, and practices to this new thing that you need to transform. So, yeah, so there's an actual method to the to this little story that I shared that I didn't even know I was undergoing that process, but I have these past 2 years. So let me ask you. So, Rinnie, what about you? I did all this talking. So tell me, what was the biggest mind shift or mind transformation that you've learned over these past 2 years?
I've been working with this mantra for, I don't know, 2 months now. And I don't know where I picked this up. Um, it just seemed like it popped in my head one day, and I'm sure I picked it up somewhere because I don't know if I'm that smart. But just to come up with it on my own. But it's that gratitude is the opposite of resentment. And so if you're in a state of constant resentment towards self, towards family, towards coworkers, towards life, that you can't feel any kind of gratitude for anything. And so this has become a very powerful mantra for me, the recognition that if you're kind of seeped, or if I'm seeped in feeling resentment, I can't feel gratitude. I don't feel a release in my body, in my mind, my heart, my spirit. And it creates like a lack of trust. And you and I both know what that means. Like, you don't have any trust. You're,
Right.
What is and we'll talk about that in a future podcast, but higher trust means you get more done. But
Yes.
if you have lower trust, you're going to be sitting there wallowing a lot, and you're going to be less productive, and you can get less done. And so for me, in order to develop that high trust, I have to sit in a zone of gratitude rather than resentment. And that's been my practice and my mantra. And it's come out of a lot of stuff that have happened with me and with WEBB Squared over the last couple of years. And I feel like I'm in a better position to just be myself and giving, because I recognize about the trust and the resentment and the gratitude.
That's so awesome. So, like, those are such like huge shifts that we both experience, which I guess prompted us to say, hey, let's do our podcast again, because why not? But let's rebrand, because we're in the same organization. It's same old Rinnie and Steph, but we're different. What is that? What do they say? Like, that's what I like about spirals. It's like you're going around the same wheel, but each time you go around, you're a bit more expanded. So we're excited. Tell us about the Monday mindsets.
Yeah, so we are sending out we have for the last month a Monday mindset email to all of our entrepreneurs, and it's a blog. It's the email has been going up on our website as a blog, and Stephanie's like, hey, maybe we can make this into a YouTube video. We're not there yet. We might be able to make a video, but we don't have the tech or the cameras and stuff. So maybe
and all that stuff.
Maybe someday we'll have a video, but we can put our podcast on YouTube, and it will be on YouTube. And if you watch it on YouTube or listen to it, there might be pictures and stuff that you can watch. Well, like graphs of the things that we talk about and that kind of stuff. So if you watch on YouTube, you'll like see an image of the fields of transformation and things like that. But in the meantime, yeah, we're just doing this work. We're meeting with entrepreneurs. We want to be able to give them as much mindset, strategies and stuff that we can. And now that we're doing the podcast, it will accompany whatever reflections we have on Monday, and they will be able to listen to us while they're driving. And our hope is that you will be engaging with us through this. And when you meet with us one-on-one in our coaching, if there's something that we talk about that you want to talk about, we're here for you.
Yep. Love it. Love it. And it's also the first day of the week. So hopefully it'll be something that can give you some support as you're busy out there doing life.
So, well, I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I kind of feel like that's a wrap.
I think it's a total wrap.
So
until next time.
Hey, do you remember our catchphrase from our last when we started this 2 years ago? What was our catchphrase?
The evolution is dialogue. Was that it?
The revolution begins with dialogue?
Yeah, okay. But we're rebranding. So now okay, this is our new catchphrase, y'all. Okay. The evolution begins with dialogue.
That's right. And until next week, we will wish you all the best.